Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. In today's review, I'm incredibly excited to be taking a look at the newly released or newly reissued Transformers G1 Headmaster MINDWIPE. These figures are basically just reissues and I believe slight enhances over their original Titans Return predecessors, and when Hasbro did announce that they were going to be reissuing a few select from the Titans Return line, I knew that I had to pick these figures up, as unfortunately I had missed out on the best part of the Titans Return line and had been trying my best to track these figures down individually. So for me, when these figures were announced, I knew that I had to pick all of them up. And from all of the promotional images, MINDWIPE here does appear to be the best out of the bunch. Taking a look here at, of course, the retro G1 packaging, much like we have seen from the previously reissued figures, it does look as if though it is fresh out of the 80s. We have that amazing 80s character design here of MINDWIPE. We do have this window view display which showcases him here in his bat mode. We of course have his headmaster Vorath showcased here at the bottom, and it does also show you what he looks like when transformed into the head. As we take a look here towards the side of the box, of course we have an image of MINDWIPE in robot mode, as well as of course here in his bat mode. And taking a look here at the back of the box, this is an 80s fest. You can see that we've got this fantastic artwork of Fortress Maximus fighting against Scorponok, as well as all of these other G1 characters. I am really hoping that Hasbro do indeed reissue the original G1 Scorponok, as I would love to own that figure. But you can see here that just adding to the G1 nostalgia fest, we do get the original statistics and of course a very brief bio. So MINDWIPE's function is to be a hypnotist. Just one look from me and you've lost. A mystic spends more of his time trying to contact the electromagnetic essences of long dead Decepticons than talking to live ones. And you can also see that we do have the statistics, and it does say that you can clip and save them, as I know many collectors back in the day did indeed cut the tech specs out. And just taking a look here at the side of the box, once again it's the same image as what we saw previously. And taking a look here at the top of the box, we have those iconic original G1 packaging transformation steps. Of course, I do imagine that MINDWIPE here will have a little bit more of a complex conversion. And then finally taking a look here at the bottom of the box, we once again have those same product images. So without further ado, let's crack MINDWIPE open and see what awaits us inside. And so here we have MINDWIPE opened up and out of the packaging, and of course as he comes packaged here in his bat mode. And some of my initial presumptions on this figure being potentially the highlight out of this wave for me are certainly proven to be correct. This figure is so well done. Now for those of you who did pick up the original version of the Titans Return MINDWIPE, I'm pretty sure that this figure won't be all that appealing to you unless you are a die-hard completionist and are after what is potentially the best interpretation of this character that we have gotten from Hasbro to date. Now as mentioned beforehand, I unfortunately do not own any of the original versions of these characters, so I will be unable to give you direct comparisons nor really point out the drastic difference between these figures and their original counterparts. However, I do believe that some of them are a mix of their original Takara Tomy releases, maybe with some additional paint apps, and that their headmasters are just a direct carryover of the Takara Tomy releases. Here for MINDWIPE, however, I'm pretty certain that Vorath is an entirely new sculpt, or is at least a carryover from the Takara Tomy version. But taking a look here at him in his bat mode, I am just absolutely loving how this looks in just the mix of paint applications, the exceptional sculpt work, and just the overall design. Taking a look here at his head sculpt, there is no denying that MINDWIPE is indeed a very incredibly menacing looking Decepticon bat. I absolutely love the sculpt work that's going on here, as well as the incredible attention to detail to his actual teeth, which have all been picked out, I may add, in a metallic silver paint. And to add even more awesomeness into the mix, the jaw of the bat mode can indeed open and close, which I just think is so awesome. As we take a look here for the torso, we do have this transparent purple piece of plastic, and you all know how much I love transparent plastic, especially when it is coloured correctly, and here is certainly an example of that. You can see we do have the Decepticon insignia as well as some amazing sculpt work, and if you actually drop this section here down, it does reveal a tiny cavity in which Vorath is hiding out. I just think that that is so awesome. We'll take a closer look at him later on in the review. Turning our attention here to the wings, you can see some fantastic sculpt work going along here, as well as the really awesome almost burgundy paintwork that there is here for the wings, the mix of purple where these claws would be. And then as we take a look here towards the tip of the wings, these are a little different in terms of their colour scheme, as these are made out of a little bit more of a pliable PVC material than compared to the solid plastic that we have throughout the rest of the wings. But once again, I don't think that that looks too bad whatsoever. As we turn our attention here down to the lower section, you can see the implementation of some nice silver highlights, and I love here the glossy black plastic that we've got for the feet, and the sculpt work is just so awesome. I really do wish that I did pick up the original versions. However, if I did that, I maybe wouldn't be doing this review here today, as I do think that this is potentially the best mind wipe that we have ever gotten. As we take a look here towards the back, the sculpt work as well as the overall texturing does continue, and I think that this here looks just as detailed as the front. You can see that we do get the robot mode bat wings here at the back, but I do think that they complement the overall sculpt rather well, and just in all a fantastic looking bat mode. Due to the nature of the transformation, you are able to hinge all of these wings in accordingly, so you can hinge all of this in. As I do have the wings attached to the feet, you are unable to actually get any movement out of these, but personally I don't find that too much of a drawback at all. As far as accessories are concerned, we do indeed get 2 additional weapons, one being his blaster, which I have attached to this additional section, which could act as a double-barreled blaster or perhaps a claw/shield weapon, mainly for mind wipe when we do get him into robot mode. However, you can take this here and port it into the back and create an almost tail for him in his bat mode. Personally, for me, I don't think that this looks all that great, so I do tend to just sit it here off to the side. Before we get down to transformation, I first of all want to very quickly show you the Headmaster Vorath. So he is tabbed in there really securely, so it may actually take quite a bit of time to actually remove him if you do push that tab all the way in there. But just taking a look at him here in his robot mode, I think that the sculpt work to this looks really well done, especially where the head sculpt is concerned. You can see that we have got a metallic silver there for the faceplate, as well as the red visor, and of course, in order to transform him into his head mode, you simply just want to fold the legs up like so, and here we have him ready to be plugged on to Mindwipe's body. Getting down here to transformation, to begin with, you're going to want to collapse this section. I like to come here to the wings and just detach this tab from this slot, and you can also see how we do get some slots and tabs for these. These are very easy to just remove. Of course, repeat the same process here on the opposite side. With that now done, you can then take this entire section and just leave that there for now. Flip around here to the underside, straighten out the legs, and then here it is just a matter of collapsing all of this in upon itself on various different joints, and this tab will peg into this slot here, so just snap that in there nice and securely, and of course orientate that appropriately. Repeat the same process here on the opposite side, so just take this and hinge this all the way in until this does snap into place. Rotate this all the way around. What we can then do is take the wings here, and these will hinge all the way back. We can then bring these arms down, and these here will hinge like so. We can then bring this down, snap that into place, rotate so that the front is now facing the back. We can then of course flip out Mindwipe's hands on these hinge joints, so just fold that out like so, and of course repeat the same process here on the opposite side, so just fold this section here out, bring all of this up accordingly, and then with the bat head, the instructions just state that you leave it here on the back, which perhaps isn't the best in terms of storage, but it's nothing that we haven't seen on a previous figure. And then just take the head and of course snap this here into place, and here we have Mindwipe fully transformed up into yet again another really awesome looking robot mode. Now, whilst we do have him here, and you may already be able to see some of the issues that I have encountered with this figure, is that unfortunately, maybe due to this being a reissue, the joints certainly do feel a little looser on this figure than maybe the first run of this figure. Most noticeably here is the ball joint here for the head. This is just so loose and floppy, and unfortunately the hinge joints forwards and backwards too are rather loose, but that certainly doesn't detract from what is otherwise a really nice looking figure. Taking a look here at the head sculpt, you can see that we've got that awesome blend of silver metallic paintwork for the faceplate as well as the red visor, and I do like the glossy black plastic that this has been cast in. As we take a look here down to the torso, you can see that once again that glossy black plastic does continue throughout the majority of the torso, and we do get the purple paintwork, the silver and the Decepticon insignia. And just taking a look at some of the sculpt work that we've got going on here for the arms, I think that this here has all come out really well. And then finally taking a look here at the legs, once again, very, very well done in my opinion. You can also see that his robot mode wings here do also look very impressive, and of course, just bringing them up over the head, you can hinge them outwards or of course hinge them back for a little bit more of a flush look. I personally like to bring them out a little bit, and you can see the sculpt work on them is just as impressive as what we got for the actual bat wings when we had him in that mode. And just in all, a really nice looking figure. As far as articulation is concerned, ball joint here at the head which can swivel the full 360, as well as look up and down and tilt side to side. Full 360 rotation here on ball joint, as well as a ball joint here out to the side. Full 360 rotation at the bicep, double joints here at the elbow due to the nature of the transformation. No wrist rotation, which is unfortunate. However, we do get waist rotation. Legs can kick forwards that far, out, back to that far, out to the sides, full 360 rotation here at the thigh, as well as a little past 90 only on a single hinge joint. And then finally taking a look here at the foot, this here can hinge forwards and backwards, mainly due to transformation, and there is no ankle rocker pivot side to side. So as far as articulation is concerned, whilst it may not be as good as the likes of the War for Cybertron trilogy, as the original mold did come before that line, I certainly think that it is more than adequate. As far as bringing out some of the other accessories are concerned, you can just take the blaster here and of course peg that into Mindwipe's hand, and then with the shield section you can bring this claw section forwards, take this and have him either holding it, or you can peg it into the side of the arm. Something which I failed to showcase when we did actually have him transformed into the bat is that you can take Vorath here and of course hinge the arms on the ball joint, and you can tab him into this section and have him almost mount this additional firearm. Of course, you can retract these in so that it only showcases these blasters, and then we can attach this one here for some more firepower. So I do think that that is quite a nice playability factor, and for those of you who like versatile options with your figures, you definitely do get more than enough with this particular release. And so, some final thoughts. Personally for me, I'm very impressed with this particular release. As mentioned throughout the duration of this review, I unfortunately picked up barely any of the original Titans Return figures and was actually looking into purchasing some of them on the secondary market. However, when Hasbro did announce that they were doing this retro reissue line, I knew that this was the way to go, and I'm certainly glad that I did order these figures, as I think that they are really well done. Now, of course, I am unable to compare these to their predecessors. However, judging by some of the images online, from what I can tell, Mindwipe here does have a new faceplate for the actual head, and the paint deco is certainly a lot darker than compared to the original release, and for me, I think that it is the better version when comparing it to the original version. So overall, I guess it just really depends on whether or not there is enough new here for you to warrant picking this figure up, or if you were like me and did miss out on the original figure, I would certainly say go for this. It's a great deluxe and will certainly fare up with the likes of the War for Cybertron trilogy, and is only really limited in regards to articulation when comparing it to some of the more recent releases. So overall, that just about wraps up my review here for the Retro G1 reissue of Mindwipe. I really like this figure and would love to know down in the comment section below on what you think of this figure. We do, of course, have 3 more to go in the wave, so be sure to hit the subscribe button to stay tuned for all of those upcoming reviews, and until my next review, I'll see you then. Thanks for watching.